I'm Ed Wansing with Architectural Energy Corporation and also member of the U.S. Green Building Council here in Middle Tennessee. I've got some Cool People Care t-shirts that we are selling to help support our organization. So if you would like a Cool People Care t-shirt, come see me after the show tonight or during, and I'd be happy to hook you up with a t-shirt. So with that, we'll get started. This is the Cane Ridge neighborhood in Nashville. So you see here, this is the pre-development. The streets are overlaid, but you see it's a very wooded site. Down here on the bottom, you'll see how it's been scraped and cleaned after development for all the houses. A little aerial photo. And this is Belmont for a contrasting view. So you see all the trees are either still intact or regrown after many years. And what this site looks like. So very wooded, tree-lined street. That's a much nicer neighborhood. And I think you can guess which neighborhood has higher property values and probably which neighborhood you would rather live in. So to get to Cane Ridge, you would probably take a brief jaunt on one of these well-moving interstates, as you can see here. At about 4:30 in the afternoon, when I was sitting at my office, I work at home, so I said, we'll see what everybody else is doing, trying to get home today. And it looks like they were all sitting still on the interstate. You can see them brake lights. But Metro did a study of the value of trees in Nashville. So you can see the annual value of trees in Nashville is $3.8 billion of benefits to Davidson County. One tree saves 4,000 gallons of stormwater runoff. 4 million trees would save $14 million in annual stormwater fees. Trees can reduce particulates by 60%. So our trees are very valuable. So you think that when developers are developing a new site, you want to keep those existing trees. This is a Green Streets program in Seattle. So you can see this is a little more hardscape oriented up on the upper left, and then the more natural softscape feel of swales on the bottom right, and some other shots of these swales here. So this is the steep portion of the site. This actually drains to the Puget Sound, and so coming down the hill, they use these concrete dams and weirs to slow the water down and to infiltrate and hold that water in these bioswales before it hits the Puget Sound and the salmon runs. So you see here on the left, all this green space is a park, Carkeek Park, and all the blue streams here are salmon runs off the sound. These salmon runs, the salmon were experiencing 90% mortality once they came up into these streams to spawn, and it was from the runoff from this neighborhood here. So this broad view was created, this green grid, to infiltrate the stormwater, clean the stormwater before it hit the sound. This is the plan that they use, the typical cross section. So you can see you've got a sidewalk over here on the right, some planting space, your typical street section, and then the large bioswale that helps to infiltrate and clean the stormwater before it hits those salmon runs. So a little view of what they did. They did a comparison between the low-impact site design with the bioswales. The same reduction in stormwater, 9.7 million gallons. The cost of the bioswales, the natural infiltration, was 4.6 million. The cost to do a typical curb and gutter where you would throw all the stormwater into a pipe and then shoot it off to a retention pond was 9.6 million, so double the cost to do the typical concrete hardscape. So it shows the options here, what they reduced the pollutants. So if you see unmitigated in the blue, and they reduced the total suspended solids by over 10 times reduction here. And so it greatly reduced the total suspended solids in the water, which is what they use to determine how well the pollutants are being taken out of the stormwater. Net present value, doing nothing would cost them $100,000. Option 2 and 3, which cleaning the stormwater, cost $1.9 million, and the traditional approach of the hardscape curb and gutter with all concrete was $7.9 million, whatever it was. So a lot more expensive to do the traditional approach. So this is another look at Portland's Green Streets program, where it's more of a hardscape approach. They have this 3-cell bioretention pond that cleans and infiltrates the water. And you can see where the water comes into the inlet here and is cleaned by the rushes. And this is another private development on the site. So every one of these little green spaces coming down out of these apartments is cleaning the space. You can see the gutter dumping right in here. It comes down to this pervious pavement and then into this ditch at the bottom of the section. So everything is infiltrated on site and goes into that one small little ditch that you see exiting the site. This is another, it's right across the street in Portland, And so they are taking water off the street. You can see where this concrete channel comes off the street here. And it's also coming over there off of another parking lot that's all asphalt and all pavement, and dumps into a 3-cell retention cell. And so here's another shot of that retention cell with the apartment project in the background. You can see each one of these cells does the same thing as that smaller one that we saw earlier. Comes into the first one, reduces the sediment and pollutants, so all that stuff that you see coming off the parking lot, oil and grit and grime, gets stuck in that first one. It comes into the second two, infiltrates into the ground, so none of the storm water is running off into the streams and lakes and rivers. This is a study of the parking lot for the Titans Stadium here in Nashville. And we see replacing all of that concrete and asphalt with trees and grass pave. So you're actually parking on grass, and you have a planted treescape in between the parking stalls. So it's a nice tailgating experience with cool trees and grass instead of 130-degree pavement. This is Heifer International in Little Rock, Arkansas. It was just planted, so you can see there's not a whole lot of growth here. We were here in November, and it was just planted in August, September time. So again, all the parking spaces that you see here are gravel pave, which is little plastic cups that the gravel's poured in, and it infiltrates into the ground. Whatever runs off into this swale in the middle. That's natural planting, and there's some more natural plantings here, and actually goes into a big moat around the building, and whatever extra runs off into a retention pond on site. So everything's retained on site. Some of you that were here last time may have seen this. This is our home here in Ashland City, what it looked like when we first bought it, and then what it looks like a couple years later, and then a couple years later again, as we've torn up a lot of the turf and planted with natural wildflowers and natural plants. As you can see, we've got some baby birds that have made home on our front porch, and a bobwhite quail that was enjoying the wildflowers actually on my birthday. So I woke up to a bobwhite quail calling in the front yard, so that was pretty cool. Definitely we love the natural stormwater infiltration and stormwater control.